Welcome to Starting Grid. Coming up in tonight's programme, we revisit Paul Jackson. In our weekly guide of how to get into, we take a look at car mechanics, as well as show you how to go about modifying your new car. But first, we'll take a look at something you may not have thought about as a first car.
So you've passed your test, you've been saving your money up for months, and it's time to buy your first car. Now you've got to have something with a bit of street cred, but 1 litre Peugeots, Fiestas and Saxos don't quite have the edge. So until you make your millions in your first job, it looks like you're going to have to get your mum's Nova and cover it in plastic spoilers. Lovely. But there is an option that's completely different, won't break the bank, and you've probably never even thought of it. A Triumph Spitfire, that's right, a Triumph Spitfire, because classic cars are not just for use by old giffers in tweed jackets or eccentrics at the weekend. Now I've actually had this car since I was 18, which is years now, and in all that time it's never let me down and it hasn't cost me a fortune in parts or insurance. So if you do fancy buying something like this, I'm going to give you a few pointers about what to look out for before you stick your trunks on and you dive in. Now, one of the biggest enemies for old cars is rust. Now this Spitfire should have metal body panels, but a lot of people bodge them with filler. But the easy way to check is get a magnet. If it sticks on, chances are that's going to be metal, particularly on the sills, because they get all the water and rust away, and that's going to be fine. So what about the engine? Well, it's very unusual for a car this age, 23 years, to have full service history, but it doesn't mean it's not been well looked after. A big folder full of bills is a good start, but there's a few simple checks you can do yourself. First of all, the oil, check it on the dipstick, it should be nice and clean, and also the oil filter. If it looks as though it dates back to the arc, then you're heading for trouble. Air filters again, they should be quite clean and new, and all your pipes and fuel pipes, give them a squeeze. If they're rock hard and cracked, well, chances are it's not been looked after. Grease nipples, that's woken you up again, hasn't it? It's not something you've got to do after the programme, but old cars like this have grease points, particularly on the suspension arms and on the steering, which need to be regularly maintained. If they're not, it means they could shear off mid-roundabout. Now the simplest test you can do to check if your engine's not so bad is look at the exhaust, or more importantly the smoke that does or doesn't come out of it. And to do that, start your car up, give it a bit of a rev, and as long as that smoke isn't thick black or thick blue, then you should be okay. Now these cars need to be run on leaded petrol or lead replacement unless they've been converted. Run them on unleaded and all the engine seals corrode very, very quickly and wear out, which is a major job to replace them. Now it's not the end of the world if the interior is a bit tatty on your car. Most of these panels, bits of carpet are available very cheaply, and these seat covers actually fitted those myself. Changed the gear knob, more modern steering wheel, and oh yeah, I stuck 3 grand's worth of stereo in it. And the last tip, and one of the hardest things to check, is your chassis. You don't want any corrosion at all on there, so ideally take it down to your local garage, let the guy stick it on a ramp and have a good look at it for you. So we've got cheap parts, we've got cheap insurance. For me it was actually 90 quid fully comped for the year, and that's through a specialist classic insurance. And if the car's over 25 years, you don't pay any tax. So you can either go for one of these and get a bit of style, or if you don't want to listen to an old git like me going on about old cars, start bolting the kitchen sink to your Nova.
Start line, you've got your pre-stage, you've got your stage, you sit there, press the button, that injects loads of nitrous, brings it up on the tube. I'm sitting there going bub 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 bub. When I want to go, I let go of the button, there I am, go flat out. shift it into second, get towards 3/4 track, overdrive, pull that back, third gear in the gearbox. Coming towards the end of the track, parachute, pull that back, let the parachute go, let the engine calm down, stick it into neutral, it's all over. Dudes.
Oh mate.
Gap in the exhaust there. Split it so you're losing all the power of the turbo in doing anything. Bolt it back together and go out there and try and get an ergo.
But you're fairly happy with that one?
Well, no, 10's, nah, it's no good.
What's 10 to you, is it nothing?
It's not nothing, no, we want to run 9s, 8s. Do you know what I mean? But nah, we'll get there. Well, I'm not disappointed, it'd be nice to we just need to get it so it holds together. We lost all that turbo, there's no point in having the turbo on the car for that, and the turbo gives us pretty much half our power, so it was just running on what the engine's capable of and not what the turbo is. What'd you get? What? Yay! Go on, my son! Launch alright, yeah?
Yeah,
Go on. Wicked, his first 12, he's got my old engine, and he's got it in, basically had a steel normal Beetle before, and it was too heavy, he kept breaking gearboxes, so I've got him to buy that race car. And he's got a 12 out of it, but he pooed his pants. 12's fast. Superb.
Goes through your mind at that speed in 10 seconds.
You're concentrating on everything you got to do, and then it gets to the end of the run, you think like, whoa,
Better stop there.
Yeah. Oh, da-dum, let's do it again, sort of thing. I'm all hyped up now, I want to go back straight back round, like.
Run back down?
Yeah. It's a shame the exhaust come off. I heard it come off instantly. As soon as I left the light, I knew it. I heard it blow, and then it was just like no power. It's all good fun.
The clock is ticking as the dragster needs to be ready for the next 2 qualifying races. For Keith, repairing the exhaust is a relatively simple task. The engine is a complicated assembly, and there are far greater problems that could affect the performance. For the dragster team, even behind the scenes, speed and concentration is paramount. A successful run in the 9s is a fantastic time and leaves Paul in a prime position to reach the final stages. However, his third race proves to be a major disappointment.
In the last few years, you've seen the wheel. Well, he got the wheels up and he was way ahead of Paul Jackson. Paul Jackson needs to keep going and use that turbo.
Although he loses the race, Paul is offered a lifeline due to the winning driver jumping the green light and being disqualified. A place in the final stages provides a glimmer of hope, but could be dashed with the apparent serious damage to the car. Whilst changing gear, it appears the engine's intercooler suffered an explosion, splitting the casing.
Yes, I dig this. Yes, I dig this. Yes, I fancy yourself as a bit of a budding car mechanic, engineer maybe? Well, we chatted to Paul Hyrst, car mechanic and all-round good bloke, for his advice.
My name's Paul Hyrst. I'm a mechanic, just finished my apprenticeship. My dad was a mechanic, and it's just something I grew up around. I found it very easy when I went to college and just stayed on it from there. I worked in a smaller garage before I went to college. Just worked in a smaller garage, and then I left there and went to another place, and then I left there and went to college. I was at college for 3 months, and then they found me a placement. I was here, and then been here ever since, 3 years. you won't get the quality of training working in a small garage. You get a better type, guaranteed. And if it's working for someone big, maybe they'll send you off to their type, specific training for that type of car, that type of make. In a small car, you get more variance, but you get a lot of bad ways and a lot of bad tricks. Go to college, get a join a training agency to take care of you. Make sure you do join college, then you're guaranteed your placement.
There you have it. Hope that's helped. Next week we show you how to get into Speedway. We're off to take a break now, but when we come back we'll be catching up with the university as they go through their qualifying stages. We'll be taking a look at how to make your car look the business and give you some test driving tips. See you after the break. Welcome back. In a minute we'll be catching up with the university as they go through their qualifying stages and showing you how to make your car look the business. But first, let's take a look at the 5th of our guides to buying your first car. Hello and welcome to your weekly guide to finding your first set of wheels. Okay, so you've chosen your car, you've had a good look round it, but now it's time to take it for a test drive. Like good comedy, timing is imperative. Don't agree to drive such an important potential purchase around a rush hour in town. You need quiet roads, plus a variety of roads too. A neat town tootler might be a rattly old dog at 70 on the motorway, so both these modes need to be checked. Like getting into any new car, you must get comfortable, adjust the mirrors and the seat, plus make sure you know where everything is before you turn the key. This is basic safety stuff. Then switch the engine on and rev it a little before engaging gears. Test all the switches to see if they operate. Then with the engine still running, get out and check the exhaust. Any smoke out the back, it's bad news, as it's burning oil. If everything's fine, then I must remind you to check the paperwork. The owner must have a V5 in their name, and a pile of MOTs and service stamps add peace of mind to the deal as well. Then before you do the deal, note the VIN plate number, usually inside the engine compartment. Check it matches the V5 and then pay to get this checked to see if your car has been stolen or is an insurance write-off. If all of this seems a lot of hassle, think about the real grief that you'll endure if you had lost all of your hard-earned cash or got into an accident from buying a well-dodgy motor.
Hi, my name's Chris. This is my 12-month-old Citroen Saxo VTS. I think it's about time now that we find out what a car like this can do, so I brought it down here to the specialist. Me and my mate Dan are going to see if we can get it a bit quicker down the straight line, a bit nippier through those corners. Let's see.
How can I help you?
Hey, I've got a Citroen Saxo VTS, which I was hoping to do some modifications on.
Right.
I certainly want to lower it, but I'd like to make it a bit quicker as well.
No problem.
What you can do for me?
Yep, of course. You say you want to lower it, definitely lower it, 35 mil.
Yeah.
Lower the torsion bar as well at the back. That'll give you a lot better handling.
Excellent.
Get a nice performance exhaust on there, and also induction kit as well.
What sort of things is that going to do for me?
Well, the induction kit is just going to get more air into the engine, so get more performance that way, and the exhaust is going to get, obviously, exhaust gas out a lot quicker. Again, getting more performance.
Excellent, that's what we want.
Okay, if you want to come through, I'll show you exactly what they do.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Right, there we go, that's your rear back box. That's the 3-inch round tailpipe there, all stainless steel.
That looks good to me.
So full system on there, that'll give you more power. Also, we've got the induction kit there, induction filter. That'll remove all your air box. That'll allow a lot more air into the engine, get more power again out that way.
Excellent, that's what we want.
Work well with the exhaust. And again, not a lot to look at, but there's the springs. That will lower the car 35 mil.
That's not me having to brake for those corners.
Definitely, definitely.
Fit all that in a day?
We've got the lads on it right away for you.
That's great.
Okay.
Hang on, mate. Okay, so what's that little lot come to? Well, we spent about 250 on the exhaust, about 100 or so on the springs, and another 60 or so on the induction kit. Springs make it look good. Let's see if it goes as well. Well, I've paid me money and made me choices, and I tell you what, it was worth every penny.
We've been following the lads in the race team at the University of Central Lancashire for the last few weeks, and finally it's race day for the team. Let's see how it went.
When I'm preparing for a race, it depends really on how I've qualified as to how I look at the start of the race. You try and work out as many different options off the start line where you can gain a place, how you can defend if you make a bad start. You've got to look at all options before you start.
During the build-up to the race, the university has had to overcome several problems, including gearbox problems and brake performance issues. Working hard throughout the night, the team ensured the car was fit to race the following day. The team also faced a guessing game as to which tyres to use for the race because of the changing weather conditions.
Brakes, make sure there's no air left in the pipes, because obviously air as a gas compresses more than the oil. So if it compresses more, the brakes won't be applied as Garen wants it to be. So just try to get the air out of the system.
Working together as a team, the students were able to work to ensure the optimum setup for the race. Final adjustments were made to the car, including changing gear ratios. With all the changes made, Garen is ready to race. That's all that we've got time for this week, but here's what's coming up next week. The university team go racing and we check in with Paul Jackson to see how he's getting on. See you next week.